Week 15 in the books. Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Ty, and in this week's episode of our YouTube Studio and monetization video, I'm going to once again reveal everything behind the scenes in my YouTube Studio, in my Google Sheet as it relates to tracking towards our monetization progress. And I also want to talk a little bit about this shift in mindset that I've been having recently about thinking about my YouTube channel as a legitimate small business and some of the steps that I've taken to move in that direction. And so, if you're like me and you're newer and you're trying to evaluate if this whole YouTube thing can actually be a full time job or full time income for you, this will be a good video for you because I'm going to probably challenge you with some things that you might want to think about as you ramp up into that environment. So, if we haven't met before, my name is Ty, and on this channel, we do all things YouTube Studio, monetization, and channel growth, but from a brand new creator's perspective. So, again, if you're brand new yourself, you're in the right spot. Let's jump in. All right, so jumping into the YouTube Studio, we are in our channel dashboard. We'll come into content, and I'll give you guys another look at how all of my videos are performing across the channel from a views, comments, and likes versus dislikes perspective. I think this is a good holistic way of looking at your channel. And one thing I'll call out, and then we talked about this last week, is that when you do have that breakout video that we've talked about previously, one of the residual benefits is the increase in momentum that you will start to see on your channel. And I'll just call out prior to really any breakouts on my channel, a lot of my videos were in the 100 to 200 views range. And granted, back then I was half the size. But once you start to have some videos that pop off and gain a lot more traction and a lot more views, that's going to pull in a lot more subscribers, which then leads to a lot more views and impressions in the future. So, as you can see, after this one video late last month, a lot of my most recent videos are now 400 to 700 views. So, this is something for you guys to look out for when you do have that breakout moment. And again, all of this to say, just keep going, right? Like keep pushing, keep creating content, keep uploading because you never know when you're going to have something that takes off and that really helps out the channel's progress. And this also, if I'm being honest, is kind of what's helping me to think a little more clearly about my objectives on YouTube and what I hope to accomplish. And the more people that you engage with in your comments, the more you come to realize that there's actual legitimate problems that you can help solve. And that's what this whole channel is about. It's about one, me overcoming my fears of being on camera and trying to communicate effectively. And then two, also helping other people who have those same issues. Because if I can overcome them myself, then I can definitely help other people do it as well. And so that's really what I'm trying to accomplish. And we'll talk a little bit later about something that I'm putting forward effective now to help other people in that effort. So let's come into analytics. And I actually want to show you another new review that I've just started to look at that you can look at as well. And it's going to really give you a good holistic snapshot of your channel from a variety of metrics too. So let's just take a look at where we've been all in. We'll do a lifetime view here. We're at 22,000 views on the channel. We're at around 1,400 watch time hours and 926 subscribers on the channel. If we come into see more, we're not going to do what we've usually done in previous videos, but I want to show you what happens when you click on date. And you can change this from daily to weekly or monthly. I'm going to change it to weekly, and I want to just show you what this looks like. And I'm going to take in a few more metrics here. All right, so I've just added in a few extra metrics because I want to show you what this looks like. And I've sorted it from the date range on the left side. So what you're seeing is every single week from the oldest to the youngest on my channel at the weekly snapshot. And you can see how your channel is progressing over time in terms of the number of subscribers that you're earning each and every week. And the same thing with impressions and the same thing with likes, average percentage viewed, views, and watch time. And I think what's helpful about this view is you can actually, it's very similar to the Google Sheet that we've been looking at. And it's probably easier to get updated, to be honest. We just use the filters that I showed you. But you can take a look starting from your oldest weeks first and see if you're making material progress on any of these metrics. So, like if we're looking at impressions right now, my first 2 weeks, 1,000, 8,000, 1,000, 6,000, and then it really starts to ramp up into double digits. And then I have my first month in triple digits, and so on and so forth. Same thing for subscribers. You can see I kind of front loaded and then it dipped and then it started to tick up once again. And you can see that there's this constant forward momentum, even though there are highs and lows. That's definitely to be expected. But in the aggregate, over the long period of time, the movement is definitely up in the right direction. You can see any progress that you're making on click through. You can look at progress that you're trying to make on average percentage viewed. So average percentage viewed is going to be an important metric because this is going to help you understand if your audience is actually engaged on your videos. If they're dipping out early, that's going to lead to a lower average percentage viewed, which is going to tell the algorithm that people are not interested in your content. So you may get fewer impressions. So as you can see on my channel, it was in the low 20s, very low 20s, and then it started to improve over time. And now I'm like over the last 3 or 4 weeks in the low 30s, which is good. So I need to keep that momentum going in order to have the algorithm push out more of my content. And then the same thing with views, that's pretty self explanatory. And then watch time hours. So I thought this was helpful. I really just discovered this a few days ago, and I thought I would share it with you guys today in the hopes that this might help you as well see directionally how your channel is performing week over week. All right, so let's jump into the Google Sheet. We'll look at the week over week progress, but again, from a slightly different view. I'll call your attention down here to week 15. This is the week that just passed. We did have our second best month ever in terms of the total number of views. We came in at 2544, and then we had our second best month in terms of watch time hours at 184-ish. Average view duration is almost 31%, click through right around 3%, and then subscribers gained was 73. We did have 56,500 impressions. So we did post 2 videos on the channel, and of course, we're still not monetized, so no revenue to speak of. But even though we're down from week 14, as we've talked previously, week 14 was an anomaly of a week for me because I had that really strong video. But all in, I'm really happy with the momentum. And as we take a look at the number of weeks left to hit our 1,000 subscriber target, our calculations are now telling us, based on our historical data, that we only have 2 weeks left to go to hit our 1,000 subscriber mark. So that will be awesome. I'm hopeful we can achieve that before 4 months. And then in terms of watch time hours, we're still making good progress here. We're down to 30 weeks to go to hit our watch time target. And it wasn't that long ago that I was looking at this graph, maybe back in week 8 or week 9, and it was 130 weeks before we were going to hit our watch time target. And just a few weeks later, now we're down to 35 or 30 weeks left. So I'm pretty confident we can continue to bend that curve, have that tick down over time. And before we know it, we'll be at our watch time target and we'll have something cool to celebrate. So I think we all understand that even when you get AdSense monetized, you still will not be in a position to bring in enough ad revenue to really sustain or pay your bills. You really have to have a large channel to earn any substantial amount of AdSense revenue. So leading up to that, what's in play for a small YouTuber, for someone who wants to treat this like a small business, but doesn't necessarily have a large subscriber base to work with? So I think for me, in the niche that I'm in, and you guys will have to evaluate this for yourselves and what makes sense, is I'm going to lean into coaching or consulting for other newer YouTubers who might need a helping hand to get started. It's become apparent to me in recent weeks with the number of people I've been interacting with through email in the comments that there's a lot of people out there that need help. And one of the things I really want to do is help people get over that initial hurdle of starting, because I was stuck there for so long. So if that's you and you're interested in connecting and having a one-on-one session with me, I did put a link below in the description that links out to my calendar. So we can definitely connect that way if you like. All that to say, I may not be for everyone. So use your best judgment. And if you want to sync offline prior to booking, let me know. You can get my email address in the description below as well. I think where I can really help people is, number one, helping them understand that they're probably overthinking it when evaluating whether they should post that first video. I can give you a good kick in the ass and probably help you get over that hump. I can help you with some beginner steps on how to edit videos. I can help you understand the YouTube Studio quite a bit. And really anything else that you're going to need help with as far as ideas for video topics, video titles. I'm probably not the best thumbnail designer, but I can at least point you in the right direction of things that you should avoid. So if that sounds like you, if those are things you're interested in learning more about and you want to have a more intimate one-on-one session, let me know. I'd love to connect. Other areas that I'm thinking about and that you could be thinking about as well is, are you building a mailing list for people who might be interested in something that you might have to sell down the road? So if you're in another professional services niche, for example, does it make sense for you to offer coaching or consulting services? Does it make sense for you to offer some sort of digital product or online course that you could build out? If so, having a mailing list is a great way to push out that product and to get conversions on that. So I think starting a mailing list early is a good idea, even if you don't have anything to sell. It's a good way to start aggregating potential clients or customers in the future. Another thing I'm thinking about is a school community. Now, again, my subscriber count on my channel is still relatively low. I don't know how many of you all might convert to a school community, but that's something I'm thinking about because I feel like I still do want to create a more intimate environment for a smaller number of people to collaborate with one another on. That's been my goal from the beginning. The YouTube comments are great, but it's definitely not enough. It'll be interesting to see what the new YouTube community tab turns into and if that is a way to connect more meaningfully with your target audience. But so far, school seems like it's the best platform for that. Of course, there are several ways to do a school community. You can make it free or you can make it a subscription plan. I think all of that depends on the supply and demand. And if people genuinely want to work with you, and if they find value in paying, that'll be an interesting area to explore. And then the final thing is just some of the logistics that go behind converting a YouTube channel into, say, a business or a small business. And I think starting with, is it going to be, are you a sole proprietor or are you going to register under a business name, maybe an LLC? And then all of the other back end things that go to, in terms of a business banking account, credit card, business insurance, all of that stuff that factors into turning this into a legitimate business that then has its own expenses and income that you file as a business on your taxes. So these are a lot of the other things that I've been thinking about more recently. And if you haven't yet, it might be a good idea to do so for those of you who are kind of on the cusp of trying to monetize your channel and convert it into a small business. All right. So with that, we'll leave it here. And if you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. How are you guys thinking about your YouTube channel? Are you thinking of turning it into a small business or is it more of a hobby for you? Either way, it's perfectly okay. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.